In 2025, a McDonald's combo meal can cost more than $14. That's not a typo. That's not inflation. That's a signal. Because what you're getting for that money isn't more food, better quality, or safer ingredients. In fact, it's the opposite. Over 40% of Americans say they no longer trust fast food labels. Not after learning that what looks like chicken might be stabilized with silicone, what smells like beef might be cleaned with chemicals once used for sanitizing floors, and what feels nostalgic might be quietly fueling a health crisis. Somehow over the years, McDonald's stopped being a restaurant and started functioning like something else entirely. You've probably felt it. In the taste, in your wallet, maybe even in your gut. But no one really wants to admit it. This isn't about hate. It's about waking up. So watch closely. Because we're about to uncover what McDonald's has become, why it no longer deserves your trust, and how they quietly turned America's favorite food into something you wouldn't feed your own family. They call it food, but it's built in a factory. Here's what McDonald's doesn't put on the menu. Their burgers are assembled from meat that's been washed with ammonium hydroxide, flash frozen, and reshaped with binding agents to survive long-distance shipping. Their nuggets contain anti-foaming agents used in industrial lubricants. And their fries, which look the same in every photo, are pre-treated with dextrose and dimethyl polysiloxane to control color and texture across hundreds of locations. These aren't isolated ingredients. This is a manufacturing process dressed up to look like food. Government records show that more than 70% of McDonald's core menu falls under the ultra-processed category. But that's just the surface. Behind it is a supply chain stitched together from global contracts, third-party processors, and loopholes in federal labeling laws. Ingredients may cross 3 borders before ending up in a fryer. And some of them, like tertiary butyl hydroquinone, have already been banned in multiple countries due to long-term health concerns. Yet they remain in your lunch shielded by outdated policies and protected by corporate lobbying. This isn't just about what's in the food. It's about how McDonald's helped build a system where volume beats safety, where uniformity beats nutrition, where shelf life beats common sense. A cheeseburger isn't supposed to sit under a heat lamp for 40 minutes and look exactly the same. Chicken shouldn't require 5 layers of additives to hold its shape. But McDonald's didn't get to billions in revenue by making clean food. They got there by turning meals into formulas, ingredients into assets, and customers into variables. And somewhere along the way, the question stopped being, is this still food, and became, how much can we stretch it before people notice, look closer? Because behind every golden wrapper is a factory process fine-tuned for everything except your health. You're paying $14.18 for this. A McDonald's Big Mac combo in 2025 can cost more than $14. Not in Manhattan. Not at the airport, just a regular location in Middle America. $14 for a meal that's shrunk in size, downgraded in quality, and built on ingredients that wouldn't pass the kitchen test in most American homes. The fries are thinner, the patties flatter, the drinks mostly ice. But the price? Somehow it keeps rising. Since 2019, McDonald's has quietly raised menu prices by over 40% in some states. During the same period, portion sizes have shrunk, fresh ingredients have been replaced with cheaper alternatives, and combo meals now cost more than a sit-down lunch at local diners. Some people are finding that it's cheaper to cook steak at home than buy a fast food burger. But this isn't just about inflation. This is about perception, about testing how far a brand can stretch nostalgia before it breaks. McDonald's has built a strategy on the assumption that Americans will pay more without asking questions, that you'll keep tapping the screen even when the number climbs. That convenience will numb the memory of what food used to be. And if you think it ends at the counter, look further. Franchise owners now pay higher fees. Employees are stretched thinner, juggling more tasks for lower real wages. The cost is being offloaded in every direction while the corporate profits soar. So, who's winning here? When you unwrap a burger smaller than your palm, when the cheese doesn't melt, when the bun feels pre-packaged and the lettuce is translucent, something clicks. This is no longer about taste. This is about trust. And the moment that trust fades, even $14 feels like too much. Not long ago, McDonald's was known for being affordable. Now it's quietly become a luxury that offers less than it promises. The price tag says premium. The food says otherwise. The only thing that hasn't shrunk is the bill. Shrinkflation. They're feeding you less, while taking more. A McChicken today is almost 30% lighter than it was in 2010. The bun is thinner, the patty barely covers the bread, and the lettuce, a few shredded threads clinging to the side like a garnish someone forgot to toss. But the price keeps rising, and the sizes keep shrinking. It's not a glitch. It's not a coincidence. It's a strategy. This is shrinkflation at full throttle, a calculated approach where McDonald's reduces what you get while distracting you with new packaging, limited-time sauces, and digital kiosks that push you to upsize. A Big Mac in 2025 has fewer grams of meat, less sauce, and smaller buns than it did a decade ago. It's engineered to appear unchanged, but under the numbers, the meal is vanishing right in front of you. This tactic doesn't just affect food, it erodes confidence. Because when a brand that once fed your family for under $5 starts chipping away at your portions while charging triple something deeper cracks. It's no longer about taste or calories, it's about being squeezed. And the math isn't hard. A meal that once fed 2 now barely satisfies 1. You pay more for fewer bites, fewer fries, less protein. And those value menus slashed, reduced to 2 or 3 items designed to lure you in before the screen nudges you into combos you didn't plan to buy. Behind it all is a quiet shift in corporate playbooks. McDonald's no longer relies on loyalty. It relies on momentum. On the idea that customers won't notice what's gone as long as the branding stays the same. But something has changed. People are noticing, not in press releases, in their stomachs, in their wallets, in the silence that comes after a meal ends too fast and costs too much. Shrinkflation isn't just a pricing trick. It's a breach of trust dressed in sesame seeds. It's how the familiar becomes unfamiliar without warning. And by the time you realize what's missing, you've already paid for it. The Happy Meal died and took childhood with it. Once the Happy Meal stood for more than just food. It meant color. It meant surprise. It meant 5 quiet minutes in the back seat while your kid opened a toy shaped like imagination. But now what's left feels hollow. The box is smaller. The toy is often a sheet of cardboard with foldable tabs. The burger inside barely holds together. In some cities, parents are paying over $8 for a paper-thin memory. And it isn't just nostalgia. It's corporate strategy rewritten for margins. Over the past 10 years, McDonald's has quietly phased out partnerships with major toy brands, replacing action figures and collectibles with generic, unbranded items that cost less than 20 cents to produce. They've reduced serving sizes, swapped out full-size drinks for miniature cartons, and replaced apple slices with a single processed alternative that lasts longer in storage. In 2024, a report showed that fewer than 15% of American families considered McDonald's a fun place for children. The play areas removed or replaced with digital kiosks. The music gone. What's left is a gray space optimized for turnover, not laughter. Even the employees are no longer trained in how to talk to kids. Because kids, it seems, aren't the target anymore. What does that mean for childhood? When a place that once promised joy becomes just another screen menu and microwaved meal, it means children grow up learning that fast food isn't even trying to be special. That food comes in shrink-wrapped silence, that the excitement of a surprise has a QR code, now not a smile. McDonald's didn't just reduce the value of a Happy Meal, they reduced the meaning of it. What used to cost under $4 and come with a toy that lit up a whole afternoon now feels like a placeholder. Something parents buy out of guilt. Something kids forget before the fries are gone. And the damage isn't just to your wallet, it's to memory, to expectation, to the soft edges of a childhood that used to include a little box that said without words you matter. That message isn't printed anywhere now. It's been replaced with calories and disclaimers. Your doctor would scream if he saw this menu. A quarter pounder with cheese now clocks in at over 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half of what the American Heart Association recommends for an entire day. Add a medium fry and a sweet tea, and you're staring down a full day's worth of salt, fat, and sugar before 3 p.m. But the real concern isn't what's listed on the menu. It's what hides in the spaces between the numbers. McDonald's has spent years crafting meals that trigger reward responses in the brain. Artificial flavors simulate freshness. Added sugars smooth out acidity. Fat is layered strategically to slow digestion just enough to make you feel full but crave more in 2 hours. And while your taste buds are being tricked, your arteries aren't. Cardiologists have long warned that repeated exposure to trans fat alternatives and sodium phosphate compounds can harden blood vessels over time. Yet they remain quietly embedded in sauces, buns, and marinades across the McDonald's menu. In 2023, more than 30% of fast food consumers in the U.S. reported worsening symptoms of prediabetes and high blood pressure, with a significant portion tied to routine visits to top-tier chains. But here's where the concern deepens. Most McDonald's nutrition information is available online but not in store, not on the screen, not when you need it most. And even then, formulations vary by region, making it harder to track what exactly you're eating. The menu has changed, but not in ways your doctor would recognize. Items labeled as lighter choices often rely on chemical emulsifiers to maintain texture. Meals targeted at children frequently exceed sugar thresholds set by pediatric guidelines. And breakfast options, once simple, now contain over a dozen processed additives, many of which were never part of traditional cooking in any culture. It's not about counting calories anymore. It's about facing the fact that what used to be an occasional treat now behaves like a daily threat. One that hides behind golden arches and limited time offers. And it's doing damage you can't taste until it's too late. From playgrounds to beige boxes. Walk into a McDonald's today and something feels missing. Not just in the food, but in the room. The walls are beige. The chairs are molded plastic. The lights hum softly over touchscreen kiosks. What used to feel like a stop for families now resembles a waiting room with fries, and the playgrounds quietly erased. Between 2016 and 2024, McDonald's removed over 2,000 indoor play areas across the United States. No press release, no announcement, just gone. What replaced them wasn't community space or comfort. It was more screens, more order lanes, and fewer reasons to stay. The spaces designed to make childhood joyful became spaces optimized for silence and speed, and it didn't happen by accident. Corporate redesign shifted focus from families to throughput. In internal documents, the word linger was replaced with efficiency. Colorful murals turned into gray gradients. Booths were spaced tighter. Tables were bolted down. Everything became designed not for connection, but rotation. A body in, a dollar out. The strategy is simple: less noise, fewer messes, more profit. But something else left with the playgrounds. Something that didn't make the spreadsheet: laughter, energy. That sense that a fast food stop could feel like a pause in the chaos, not a reminder of it. And now the McDonald's dining room sits half empty in dozens of towns. Customers waiting in silence for food that no longer brings joy. Parents scrolling phones while their kids tap on screens, not slides. The company blames changing habits, but those habits were engineered, gently pushed, nudged by design that forgot who it was supposed to welcome. From bright colors and ball pits to beige boxes and QR codes, the message is clear. It's no longer a place built for people. It's a mechanism built for volume. And as the soul of McDonald's gets stripped for efficiency, one question remains in the silence. What exactly are we still coming back for? The ice cream machine isn't the only thing that's broken. The ice cream machine has become a national punchline. Always down, always being cleaned, always an excuse. But behind that broken machine is a symptom of something deeper, something far more broken than a dessert dispenser. Because while Americans laugh at the joke, the system keeps breaking in silence. In 2023, internal audits revealed that over 30% of McDonald's franchises experienced repeated equipment failures that went unresolved for weeks. It wasn't just soft serve. Fryers stalled, refrigerators failed, digital systems glitched. And while customers waited, corporate pushed ahead with automation goals, quietly replacing human staff with kiosks, apps, and call centers thousands of miles away. What breaks faster than a milkshake machine? Morale. In multiple states, frontline workers report being undertrained, overworked, and given just enough hours to avoid healthcare eligibility. A revolving door of part-time labor paid close to minimum wage, while executive bonuses rose by double digits. And customers pushed to tap and go. Speak to no one. Complain to no one. Just accept the breakdown like it's built in. But equipment isn't the only thing breaking. So is accountability. McDonald's maintains a network of suppliers and subcontractors so vast that when a food safety issue hits, tracing it back becomes a labyrinth. In 2022, contaminated lettuce shipments affected over 100 stores. Not a single apology made national headlines. Meanwhile, the promise of fast food erodes. Wait times stretch longer. Orders arrive missing items. Ice cream machines still blink red. And yet prices climb. Profits climb. And the narrative stays frozen. This isn't about a treat that didn't make it into the bag. It's about a machine that represents everything that's gone wrong. A company that scaled so fast it forgot how to function. And as the machine sputters, so does the trust it once stood for. A soft serve cone used to mean something sweet. Now it means another system down. And no one picking up the call. America is waking up, so why are you still sleeping? The numbers tell the story. Since 2020, McDonald's has closed hundreds of locations across the country, not because of competition, but because people are quietly turning away. In cities and suburbs, even in small towns once anchored by the Golden Arches, foot traffic is down. And the silence isn't just from empty booths. It's from families choosing not to come back. Consumers are no longer just customers. They're investigators. They scan labels. They watch ingredient lists. They share receipts. And they're realizing that something is deeply broken when a company can charge $14 for a combo meal that barely feeds a grown adult, all while cutting corners on quality service and safety. But while much of the country is waking up, some are still lulled into comfort by the memory of what McDonald's used to be. A memory built on price, on joy, on convenience. A memory that no longer matches the reality in front of them. Because the truth is that place doesn't exist anymore. Today, it's not just about food. It's about the illusion of food, the illusion of care, the illusion of value. And the longer people hold on to the brand they once loved, the harder it becomes to see how much it's changed. Not overnight, but piece by piece, dollar by dollar. Until the Golden Arches became just another empty promise dressed in red and yellow. America is shifting, quietly, consistently. People are saying no without raising their voice. The question now isn't whether McDonald's is failing. The question is why some of us are still pretending it hasn't. It didn't fall overnight. McDonald's faded piece by piece through every smaller burger, every colder fry, every broken promise served on a plastic tray. What was once a symbol of joy became a system of shortcuts, of less food, less care, more profit. But this isn't just about one brand. It's about waking up. It's about recognizing when something no longer serves us, no longer sees us, no longer deserves us. So the next time you drive past those arches, ask yourself, are you craving food or clinging to a memory because now you know the truth? And once you see it, you can't unsee it?
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.